Today's program of Cape Cod Arts is being brought to you by the Voice Studio of John Murrell, which will be presenting A Grand Night for Singing, Wednesday, June 6 at 7 p.m., Sandwich Town Hall. The Voice Studio of John Murrell. High quality and serious vocal training for the voice student. His studio is located on Route 6A in East Sandwich. 774-313-9012. The Voice Studio of John Murrell.
A few weeks ago, I journeyed over the bridge to Jordan Hall, which is this wonderful concert hall at the New England Conservatory, just down the street from Boston Symphony Hall. I wanted to hear a recital by the French soprano Sandrine Pugh with her accompanist Susan Manoff. Well, the recital was a beautiful performance. There were songs by Mendelssohn, Fauré, Poulenc, and she finished with folk songs arranged by Benjamin Britten. It was a beautiful, elegant recital. While I was at Jordan Hall, I noticed that there was a catalog for upcoming performances for the Celebrity Series. Their next season, the 2012-2013 season. It is impressive, folks. Listen to some of the names, just some of the names that are coming this next season. Jazz greats Chick Corea and Gary Burton, violinist Midori, the Emerson String Quartet, Broadway singer Christine Ebersole. In fact, I saw Christine Ebersole this past summer at the Art House, accompanied by Seth Rudetsky. She is all that and more. Opera's greats, soprano Renee Fleming and mezzo-soprano Susan Graham in a rare duet program. The Danish Dance Theater. Journalists Frank Rich and Fran Lebowitz. That should be exciting. Tap dancer Savion Glover and flute player James Galway. Now, if you want to check out their entire listing of what's coming, just Google celebrityseries.org and you'll see the entire season. All right, this is the part of the program called Over the Bridge. You know, the Sagamore or the Bourne Bridge. As wonderful as our art scene is on Cape Cod, and I tell you it is, there are a few things over the bridge that are worth driving to. Today, I would like to talk about the Art Museum at the Rhode Island School of Design, otherwise known as RISD. This is in the east side of Providence in the historic College Hill area. The museum has over 86,000 acquisitions of art, and it is one of the largest art museums in Rhode Island. It is certainly the most visited. Recently, it was voted the best museum in Rhode Island by Providence Phoenix for its 15th straight year. The museum was interesting and inviting. My favorite parts of the museum, the Grand Gallery, is the most majestic and dramatic of the many galleries throughout the museum, and it is often used for concerts. However, the most memorable and striking part of the museum for me was an object of art called Gilded Frost and Jet Chandelier by Dale Chihuly. Now, folks, if you've never seen a sculpture in glass by Dale Chihuly, you are in for a surprise. You, of course, might remember there was a big exhibition at the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston, but you might have missed it. His work is dramatic and mystical and fantastical and playful all at the same time. On another note, last week I visited my mother and father in St. Petersburg, Florida, and I was delighted to find there was a museum dedicated to the work of Dale Chihuly. I spent a wonderful morning looking at his artwork. I highly recommend checking out his work, But certainly, take a drive over the bridge and visit the Art Museum at the Rhode Island School of Design. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. And that reminds me, when I told you about Christine Ebersole, Broadway legend, guess who's coming to Provincetown over 4th of July weekend? Patti LuPone. Remember Patti LuPone from Evita and hundreds of Broadway shows? Well, her buddy, Seth Rudetsky, is bringing her in to the Art House over July 4th weekend. Now, it's a relatively small space, and Seth Rudetsky is a spectacular accompanist and interviewer. Folks, if you've got nothing to do over that weekend, drive down to Provincetown and check out Patti LuPone and Seth Rudetsky. Many of us here in the Sandwich area, when we think of the heritage museums and gardens, we often think about the dramatic and beautiful Rhododendron Festival, which is about to happen. This year, the museum has brought in an exhibition of the artwork of American painter Norman Rockwell. I have a short interview and a little look at the museum with the executive director, Ellen Spear. I think you'll like it.
We are really honored to be hosting a major exhibition of the work of Norman Rockwell for the first time in eastern Massachusetts and the greater Boston area. It's called Norman Rockwell Beyond the Easel, and we're featuring 150 paintings, drawings, and photographs by arguably America's best-loved illustrator. I think people love his work because he paints us as we aspire to be. He paints the goodness in people. He paints a day and an era that we all long for, where people connected across the back fence, and you can depend upon your neighbor, and you knew who was living next door to you. And I think we all, with the age of the internet, where we talk to people around the world but don't know who lives in the apartment across the hall, we really want that kind of connection. You can see it all here. We celebrate American culture here, and we try to inspire people of all ages to explore, discover, and learn together. So for me, there's nothing more celebratory of American culture than Norman Rockwell. One of the ways we try to inspire people is through the exhibition of great collections. And since this collection hasn't been in this part of the world before, people can see not only his iconic paintings like The Runaway, The Marriage Counselor, The Horseshoe Fortune Contest, they're all here. They see the photographs and get a sense of the process that Rockwell used to create these monumental works.
There's two main components to the gallery exhibition. Can you tell me about it?
One is called Behind the Camera.
Okay.
And this is the part that shows us the way that Rockwell directed photographs, the way Cecil B. DeMille directed movies. And he created these iconic photographs that then became studies for the paintings. And he didn't only take one photograph. He might have taken hundreds. Took a foot from this one, a hand from this one, a nose from this one, and put together his final piece. What he did then with these photographs, and what people can see, is that they are little works of art. He was a stickler for every detail, and he cajoled his models, he paid him $5 a piece to model for him, to get just that right face, so that they're those classic faces that we see in Norman Rockwell paintings. The second piece is called Picturing Health, 10 really fabulous paintings from the Pfizer collection that we did as advertising art for medical companies and optical companies. These are owned by Pfizer, as I said, and they aren't out much in the public, so that they're things that you'll recognize but are not readily available in galleries.
Okay. So you could come for the rhododendron and then come and see the Norman Rockwell.
And to see the cars.
And the cars.
We're standing in the car barn, and one of the elements of this Rockwell exhibit that's different than any Rockwell exhibit you may have seen anywhere else is that we have found cars that are depicted in Rockwell's paintings. So you'll be able to see a little picture of the painting, and then you'll be able to see the big car. And with the ubiquitous role of cars in American culture, it's no wonder that cars took starring roles or supporting roles in Rockwell's paintings as well.
So, if you'd like to come, I'm going to put some information on the show about the website, the telephone number, and we know that basically the museum's open every single day. Thanks, Ellen.
Thank you so much for coming.
Today's guest on Cape Cod Arts is Lily Mae Harrington. Lily Mae comes from a very musical family. She's been singing all her life and involved with musical theater for the past 6 years. Despite her lack of class attendance, Lily Mae was highly involved in extracurricular activities in high school. She is currently enrolled as a student at Westminster Choir College. Even though she has performed for over 2,500 people at Boston Symphony Hall, Lily Mae still finds it challenging to convince people that as a full-figured woman, she can be any show's leading lady. Lily Mae originally auditioned for the Glee project online and at the New York City Open Casting Call. Welcome, Lily Mae. This is what I've been waiting for about 6 months. My guest, Lily Mae Harrington, was a former voice student of mine and still a very good friend. She has landed herself a role on the Glee project, which will be airing early June on Oxygen. Now, before we talk with Lily, I want to tell you a little bit about what people have said about her. Nina Schussler, the producing artistic director at the Harwich Junior Theater, where Lily has performed many times, said Lily Mae is a vivacious and luminous talent. Luminous, Lily. Her warmth comes across the footlights, as does her soaring and beautiful singing voice. She has star quality that is inherent. That's pretty good. Now, Daniel Fontaneau, who is the producing artistic director of the Cotuit Center for the Arts, says, not only is Lily Mae a triple threat talent, but she has that winning personality and on-stage charisma that you just can't find anywhere else. Best of all, she's a lot of fun to work with. You know, and I'll agree with Daniel. Lily, you are a lot of fun. And I want to welcome you to Cape Cod Arts with John Murrell. Now, you graduated from Nauset High School last year and went to a school which I love, Westminster Choir College in Princeton, New Jersey, and actually studied with my voice teacher, Lindsay Christensen. Tell us what happened then.
Well, I loved working with Lindsay Christensen.
Of course.
She was just the best, and in every way, as a person and as a performer and as a teacher.
Yeah.
And, you know, halfway through the semester, I was feeling, you know, I missed my love for musical theater.
Yeah, well, we talked about that a lot, right?
Right. And because I was strictly just studying classical voice.
Yeah, I know.
And the Glee project came around, and my mom saw the auditions for the second season, and she said, Lil, you should do it. And I was like, I don't know, like thousands of people do that stuff. They're
Exactly.
probably never going to see my video. So I was like, you know what, like, why not? And so I was down in the Westminster practice rooms one night, and I just banged it out and did it. And it got a pretty positive response from the Cape and from my friends and everybody else I knew, but I was worried that I wasn't getting enough views. So I went to the open casting call as well.
What was the online audition? What did it consist of?
The online audition consisted of, you had to sing one song.
Mm-hmm. What'd you sing?
I sang Out Here on My Own from Fame.
Yeah.
And the show gives you a list of songs that you can sing. There are about 6 songs.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the only really musical theater one, and really the only one that really spoke to me.
Sure.
And especially what I was feeling at that time. And so, yeah, I went to the open casting call, and I made it through all the different rounds that you have to go through that day.
Was this one of those like lines out the door and people came at 4 in the morning?
I was number 417, and I got the open casting call started at 10, and I got there at 6:30, and I was still number 417. And luckily, I saw another friend of mine from Westminster and kind of cut the line. But so I lucked out there. But yeah, I mean, when I got into the casting call, and I made it to Robert Ulrich's room, who's the head casting director of Glee and the Glee Project. He said, "You look familiar." And I was like, "Oh, I don't know." He goes, "Have you ever auditioned for me before?" And I said, "No." And he goes, "Oh, I've seen your video."
Ooh, you lucky girl.
And I was shocked.
Yeah.
And then that day I was told that I would be considered for a callback to go to Los Angeles for a week. And I was still waiting to hear. Finally, the day before Thanksgiving, they sent me an email saying, "You're going to LA in a week." Wow. And it was crazy.
Yeah.
And that whole week, when I went to Los Angeles, they were whittling everybody down days by days. So I happened to make it through all of those rounds. And then I was just waiting for them to Skype me before Christmas. And I got word a couple days before Christmas and couldn't tell anybody.
Sure.
And so I just went with everything I had, and I took off school, and I took a huge chance. And, you know.
Well, it's an opportunity, and you have to seize it. Even though I always think that, you know, things don't come at the right time, you have to take it.
Right.
So tell me, growing up here on Cape Cod, what was your relationship to Glee on TV?
When Glee first came out, before the first episode actually aired, when I saw the commercials, I was like, what is this show?
Right.
I was like, this looks ridiculous. And the first episode that aired, I was hooked. I was like, I have to be on this show, was the first thing that I said when I saw that show.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, before the Glee Project even came out. And I was like, this is perfect for me, because my parents are in the film business, so I'd always had a love for TV and film, but never thought that I, as a Broadway singer and as my body type, would ever be really accepted in film and television. But then that show changed that for me, and I think the world is slowly changing. Glee's a huge part of that change, and I want to be a huge part of that change as well.
Wow, wow. You know, a year ago or so, we were nuts on the Cape with Siobhan Magnus. Remember her? With American Idol. We watched every Tuesday or Wednesday night and watched her advance. It was very exciting. But it's your turn now, right?
My turn, yeah.
Now, the thing that's different is that American Idol, I think, is kind of live, right? But your show isn't. It was taped all winter time. That's why you went to LA.
Yes. Yep.
So, I'm not going to ask you, because I know you can't tell me, but you know what the fate of the program is, right? I
may or may not know the fate of the program.
Oh, I see. Cool. So, you worked how many hours a day?
Every day, we were 6 days a week on a 6-day schedule, and every day was 12 to 18 hours a day.
Like a grown-up.
Yes. I've never worked that hard in my life.
Was it hard?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was, depending on what we had to do that day, depending on the video we had to shoot that week, everything depended on timing and when you had to wake up. So sometimes we did overnight shoots where we'd be going from 5 o'clock in the afternoon until 7 o'clock the next morning. Which I've never done anything like that before.
Sure.
And that was a huge
undertaking.
It
must you must have been on a high the whole time. Like adrenaline, right? No?
Yes. There were moments when, I would say for the most part I was, but there were moments when things would start getting really real, and then you would remember you're on a reality show.
Okay.
And emotional moments that you're having or that someone else is having, or things, you know, human things to be shown have a camera in your face is really hard.
Ugh.
And that it's so much harder than I would ever think.
Really?
Yeah, because I don't think I could go any more into that.
Okay, no, I understand. But were you treated like a professional? Did you feel like you were loved?
Yes. The crew and everybody involved had such a love for what we were doing. They all loved the show. Like a lot of reality shows, it's just about the drama.
Yeah.
This is about us and about the contenders and about our stories and how we're trying to change the world. And everybody, no matter if they were a cameraman or a production assistant, everyone had the same tender loving care, and I always felt like I was treated like that the entire time I was there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So you decided not to like spend your life dieting, but decided to say, this is the body that God gave me? Is that what you're feeling?
Yeah, exactly.
And saying, damn it, here I am, and I'm not, and that is part of your hook for this show, is that right?
For sure. You know, I've always been bigger, and when I was younger, I was pretty insecure about it. And then I'd say when I was about 10 is when I was just kind of like, forget everybody else. This is how I am, and I'm healthy. And, you know, I was a swimmer then. I was an athlete 6 days a week, and I looked in the mirror and I was like, I see a beautiful girl. Why doesn't everybody else? And I never understood the pressure to be a size 4 or 2. And my sister's a 115-pound ballerina. So I always had that kind of to look up to and to compare. And luckily I didn't fall too deep underneath that, and I think a lot of girls do. Or anybody. I want anybody to watch the show and just feel like they are enough and they don't have to do anything else.
That's great. That's great. You know, I always tell my students, the thing that you're always ridiculed for or you feel insecure about is often what makes you special when you grow up. You know? So, you know, you need to embrace the entire part of yourself. All right, I have a question for you. It's always something I'm wondering about. How would you define talent? What exactly is talent, Lily, for you?
For me, it's an interesting question.
Because you know, there's athletic talent, there's musical talent, there's theater talent, there's painting talent. But if we get all the genres out of the way, is there something in the center of that that you think is the driving force? First of all, this might be put you on the spot, but do you think you're talented?
I think I have talent, for sure.
Yeah.
And I can say that with confidence, but it's what you do with that talent, which is what is important. And the thing about the show is it's not about being talented.
Okay.
It's about your entire package of you having that singing, dancing, acting talent, but then you also need
to be a person, the humanity.
Right, and you need and the audience needs to be able to connect to you. And what Ryan Murphy, the writer and creator of Glee, wants everybody to see is they want to see someone on TV that they've never really seen before, that they can sit at home and say, I'm like that. No one on TV is like that except for that character, and that inspires me. And, you know, that's really what the whole competition was about. No matter how well you did, you sang, it was still embodying your individual self.
And the magical thing about that, Lily, is everybody is their own self. And you know, there's no such thing as an untalented person. You just have to find your talent.
Exactly.
That's my thing. So, yeah, it's one of my issues with sort of classical music, some classical music. And the reason why people don't like it is that people get up there and they sing a beautiful German song or a beautiful French song, but they're not putting their soul into it. And I always say, you know, you still have to put your personality in it, just like when you sing somewhere out there or whatever, you know? So, now, it's really tedious because we've had a couple conversations. You can't tell me a lot, but I have a television set and I can watch this summer.
Exactly.
But I don't know what station it's on or when it's going to start or when it's going to be over. Can you tell me any of that?
Yes.
Good.
So the show airs June 5th, 10/9 Central on Oxygen.
Are we Central?
No,
we're Eastern.
We're Eastern, so
Okay.
it's 10 o'clock. And it's on Oxygen, which on the Cape is channel 216.
Okay.
For Comcast viewers.
Yeah, right.
And I'm not sure about the other networks.
I know.
But,
And how many segments? Do you know, or is that?
there are 11 episodes.
So we'll know by Labor Day?
Yes.
Ish. So do you have more obligations to promote the Glee project before it starts this summer?
Yes. So
this is
over
the
the
fun
next
part,
month,
right?
this is the fun part. Over the next month, the other 13 contenders and I are going to be traveling around at some point doing a press tour. So we're still waiting to hear on that. Nothing's really set in stone yet, but we will have some press events before the show, during the show. And now there's something called Oxygen Connect,
Yeah.
which is online at oxygen.com. And during the episodes and after the episodes, you'll be able to video chat with some of the contenders and ask them questions. So that'll be every week, so stay tuned for that. And then there are a lot of online things. So if you look at Facebook, if you look up Lily Mae Harrington and you like my fan page.
And we should, right?
Yes, the more likes, the better. And I also have a Twitter, which is Lily Mae H, LILYMAEH. And if you keep up with that, there are a lot of contests and different things that will go on. So if you look into all of that, you'll definitely be able to get involved somehow.
I probably know this, but I want you to, what happens if you win this competition? What is the prize?
The winner of the show gets a 7-episode arc on Glee. Yeah, it's very exciting. And they've stressed this year that there will only be one winner. So I guess we'll have to wait and see how that turns out.
I am not promising anything, and Lily's not promising anything, but on June 6th, my students are going to be performing a concert called It's a Grand Night for Singing. It's the songs of Richard Rodgers with lyrics by Lorenz Hart and Oscar Hammerstein II. And Lily has said if it's possible, if her schedule allows, she's going to perform. It's going to be at Sandwich Town Hall at 7 o'clock. So look on my website to see if it's really happening. But Lily, I wish you the best of luck. You're a charming person. You're vivacious. I've worked with you for over 2 years. I know you have a spectacular instrument. It's thrilling. And I and all of us on Cape Cod wish you the best of luck, and we'll all watch.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sweetheart. Hey folks, you know, Cape Cod Arts with John Murrell is sort of a work in progress and an act of love between myself and my producer, John Carafoli. If you'll notice behind me, we have new backdrops, and they were painted by Chris Reverti. And she has a store called Studio Brush and Gallery in Merchant Square in Sandwich. We're thrilled that she painted these beautiful backdrops, and I suggest you check out her store. All right, folks, that was our program today. Number 8. These shows just keep going on. I'm always amazed at how much art there is on Cape Cod. I hope you enjoyed our look at the Art Museum at the Rhode Island School of Design in Providence, Rhode Island, and our look at the Heritage Museums and Gardens, and our talk with Ellen Spear, the relatively new executive director. And I sure hope you enjoyed my interview with Lily Mae Harrington. You can tell she's quite a talented girl, and be sure to check out the Glee Project this summer. Hey, folks, if there's anything you want to tell me about the show, check me out on Facebook. If you have suggestions for new interviews, or if you like a segment or don't like a segment, let me know. And again, don't waste time. Go visit a museum, see a concert, see a dance performance, a theater performance. I'm sure you will. Thanks for watching Cape Cod Arts with John Murrell.